Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined in the studio today by Ali Moreno. Barcelona, of course, there are a number of teams that are here in the States on pre-season duty at the moment. And what interesting season it is, looking ahead to the start of their campaign, considering all the factors that are looking to affect the La Liga side. Don't forget last season, Xavi quit, then he stayed, then he got sacked. In the end, they finished second and they 10 points behind Real Madrid. Not good against PSG. They brought in Hansi Flick then as the new coach. They've been linked to Nico Williams. That has gone very quiet. Dani Olmo, though, looks like that might be done. We'll be discussing that in a moment. But first, Sebastian Salazar sat down with Robert Lewandowski.
Robert, great to have you with us here on ESPN. How do you feel right now physically, and maybe how would you compare it to how you felt last year? Especially, I feel like in the beginning of last year, you were dealing with some problems.
When you compare when I feel now and the last years, I'm feeling now better than last year for sure. Physically,
really?
Yeah.
Even though you're older?
Even I am older, and I don't see the difference yet. Maybe the last year was for me physically more difficult, yeah, because I know that what I did wrong, what I could do better, or what I missed. And with this preseason and this season, I can do this better for sure. And the physical things, I don't see the difference between now and 3 years ago, for example. Yeah, so it's mean still I can do my job. Still I can do scoring a lot of goals. But yeah, this is what the good things that I feel better than in the same time last year.
You mentioned what you did wrong or what you missed. What did you miss a year ago?
You know, some exercise, some in the preseason, what I did, what I didn't do. So this kind of things, I know that what I should to do, that I'm during the season, I can feel better, you know, physically. If the conditional is better, then all things is easier to do. Because if physically you feel bad or you feel like miss some, I don't know, 10, 20%, then the head starting working less, then your body, the decision, the self-confidence, everything's going in one way, but the bad way. So now I'm trying that every of these details going in the good way, even better than last year.
If we think about kind of physically being healthy, there's also a huge demand on you guys as footballers. I mean, you're just coming off the European Championships. It seems like there's just a ton of games. How much is that affecting you, and do you think it's something that's sustainable for guys like yourself who are playing, you know, potentially like 50, 60 games a year with club, and then all of the international responsibilities as well?
Yeah, and especially this season is going to be more tough than before because we have more games in Champions League. Also, yeah, for sure, we not only the games in the club, but also national team, a lot of travel that we travel a lot. That will be a huge challenge for every club, for every players as well, because you know, the expectations always are very high, and it's like you're playing every 3 days, and people expect that you play every games like on the higher level. But also, like, the generation is changing, and you cannot compare the young people with the new generation like the generation 10 or 15 years ago. Because of the world changing all the time, the football changing, and we have more games, and the expectations are more higher than before, and it's almost impossible to staying on the top or playing on the top every games, because you know you don't have time for regeneration well, you don't have time to, you know, sometimes to be outside the football, the mind like reset to be fresh. So from one side it's challenge for us, from the second side, okay, like we are in the end a human, we are not the machine. Of course we try to be the machine, but only on the pitch, but we cannot forget that we are the human, and also we need the time for the rest, and probably in the end the quality of the games or the football that a little bit can going down because of the intensity of the games that we have more and more during the whole season.
This season, obviously, big change in the managerial position. Hansi Flick, a guy you know well, you've had success with. I know it's very early days, but what differences are you noticing here?
It's always like the new coach coming. It's like the new idea, the new training session as well. And I don't want to compare each of the coach, because every coach has different way. The direction to how to prepare it for the season, how we want to playing during this season. But what was it? Okay, that is like the past. Now we are focused on what's going now and for the future. So what can I say? Something new is coming, and we know that we have to working hard, much more harder than in the past, because all this only way if you want to win something.
Champions League, you won it with Hansi Flick. Do those memories kind of inspire you to know that maybe this can be done again here?
Of course, you have some kind of hopeful that the ways can be also the successful like we were together in the Bayern Munich, for example. But of course, you cannot compare 1-to-1 like the moments, like the time, the club, the place. Of course, that we have a lot of we have amazing club. We have a lot of potential in this club. But of course, what the most important thing is to keep the players healthy. We have some injuries, but I hope so that the players that are injured that come back soon, and we're gonna be more stronger with all together. But if you're playing as a team, we can achieve our goals, and I hope so that with these positive things we can going forward to this season and trying to give our best.
No longer has the ability to get in behind and to threaten in behind. So what happened in that particular sequence is first touch wasn't good enough, second touch was even worse. It allowed the defender from Manchester City to close down the space. I think it was Callum Doyle. I'm sure that he's really interested in knowing that he's going to participate in the show today. In any case, Callum Doyle comes across, and now the opportunity gone. Why do I bring this up? I bring this up because it changes the way that Robert Lewandowski now plays the game. Rarely do you see him coming to the ball, spinning out, and trying to get in behind. He's now becoming a player that continues to come closer and closer and closer and closer to the ball, which means that he's further and further and further away from goal, which is where he's most dangerous. If I'm Robert Lewandowski and I'm trying to figure out how I remain productive for Barcelona, it's going to be inside the 18-yard box. It's not going to be coming to the ball.
Frank, for you, what stood out from this interview?
Well, I will follow Ali on the first answer when he talked about the fact that the game is becoming physically harder, more demanding, that they don't have holidays. I love that new generation of people who think that it's harder now than before, that before it was much easier. I played at Chelsea between 96 and 2001. I had 15 days holidays per year because we had to play during winter, because I had international duties during the summer and no holidays. We didn't have the VAR. The defenders and everybody was much harder than they are now. It's much easier than it was at the time, and I'm talking 30 years from now. So I'm, with all due respect, and I'm with Ali, I think the guys is warning everybody that he might have some excuse on his future games, and it might not be the Lewandowski that we all have known before, and that's not for the best, And when you try to find excuses, it's because you are touching maybe the end of it.
What I thought was interesting as well was what he had to say about Xavi being almost too close to the fans, to the club, in the fact that we saw that take its toll very much, obviously, when we had that press conference, said that he's going to leave. It was just too much for him. So his suggestion, Lewandowski's, was that Hansi Flick coming from the outside is actually a good thing.
Yeah, and I think what he's referring to with Xavi is the emotional attachment to the club, and the emotional attachment that doesn't allow you to make objective decisions because you're trying to be a friend to everybody in the club. You're trying to be a friend to the history of the club. You're trying to appease everybody, including the media, and that was never going to work. Now, full disclosure, Barcelona didn't exactly handle this situation all that well. And when I say all that well, it was terrible. Because Xavi says he's leaving and Barcelona then says, no, but he's coming back. He's our guy for the future. Xavi's Barcelona through and through. And oh, by the way, now he's gone.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you have the club handling this situation that way, imagine what the players are thinking inside that locker room. And you start seeing that respect and appreciation and emotional connection for Xavi, it's eroding right in front of your eyes. It's happening right in front of your eyes as a player. And so I think his point is a larger picture sort of point in which he's saying, yeah, This guy's coming in and he's going to have his own ideas. And he's going to make objective decisions that not necessarily have to please everybody because he has no connection to Barcelona. And if indeed that's the case, you would assume that Hansi Flick coming in with a clean slate, making objective decisions, you assume that they would be better decisions. But that is not a guarantee. That is again, that's a player who in preseason is saying, I hope this works out because this is the manager that we now have in place. And so therefore, hopefully, this guy coming in and not having this emotional connection is actually going to work out for us. He's just looking at it from the perspective of players, that this manager works out.
Manchester United then with the victory by 3-2. This pre-season, unfortunately for United, has been dominated, hasn't it, by injuries. Of course, we learnt yesterday, Lenny, you're out for 3 months. Hoyland out for 6 weeks. Marcus Rashford and his ankle to be determined. Anthony as well. As you welcome in Frank Leboeuf. Mark Ogden is here the day before his holiday. Oh, look at this.
Professional.
He's already clocked out, but we may as well go to him anyway. Oggy, of course, considering the injuries we saw affecting Manchester United last season, once again, those who were unavailable look to be dominating the headlines as we start this season.
Yeah, I mean, the United season starts a week on Saturday, the Community Shield against Man City at Wembley. So I know it's not the big start, but it's an important start. It's a game that they will want to perform well in. And then they've got the game against Fulham, I think, in 15 days. So it's the same story, isn't it? It's the same story as last season, whereby United got a lot more injuries than anybody else. And we don't know why that is. Is it a coincidence? Is it bad planning? Is it a lack of fitness? We don't know. I know United have, the new owners, or Ineos, have tried to identify the problems, but right now it's a recurring nightmare for Erik ten Hag. And he's got, Lenny Yoro is obviously going to play a big part this season. 3 months out, massive blow. Rasmus Højlund, we know he's still young, but he's their main striker. He's the only striker they've got, and as much as he's a young kid, they rely on him. So massive problem there, which means they have to rely on Marcus Rashford, who is injured. But the good news for United fans is I don't think it's a serious one. It's a kick to the ankle rather than a ligament damage. So he may even play in the friendly against Liverpool before they fly back to the UK early next week. So, but all told, it's bad news. It's been a bad pre-season tour for United because of the injuries they collected.
But then how much does this give Ten Hag a pass if United start badly, Mark?
Well, I don't think he does. I think he's run out of passes. I think he has. I think, in many ways, because the squad picks up so many injuries, the focus will fall on Ten Hag and his preparation. We know that United have changed a lot of the coaching staff this summer, so that might have an effect. There was a suggestion last season that Ten Hag trained them too hard in pre-season. They weren't quite ready for the blast that they got in pre-season, and the injuries came as a result of that. So we'll wait and see. But I don't think Erik ten Hag's got any more passes now. He was very lucky to keep his job. They finished 8th last season. They won the FA Cup, great, but he was very lucky to keep his job. He said a lot of things this summer about how he kind of confronted Ineos and said some home truths. But I think he doesn't have many he's kind of used up all his excuses, I think. And I think on this occasion, if injuries mount up again, it's one of those things. All clubs get injuries. United get more than most, but you just got to deal with it. But unfortunately, the squad isn't big enough. It's not deep enough. And I think we'll find that out when the season starts, that they'll just have to get lucky. They'll have to get lucky with people like Rashford. They'll hope that Joshua Zirkzee is fit enough to start and play well. Defensively, they've got big problems because obviously they're shorter players, and they were hoping to get rid of maybe 2 of Harry Maguire, Victor Lindelof and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. They may only get rid of 1 now because they need Lindelof and Maguire to stick around because of the injury problems they've got.
Although having said that, Mark, how much, for example, does the Yoro injury then force Manchester United hand in going for someone like Branthwaite or De Ligt?
Well, we know that they wanted one of those players anyway. They wanted to bolster their defensive options, so I don't think it changes the need for a centre-half, but it may alter the urgency. We know that both De Ligt and Branthwaite are available for the right price. Now, we spoke the other day, Everton have basically signed a replacement for Branthwaite already by signing Jake O'Brien from Lyon. So I think if United push the Everton door, they might find it opens a little bit easier than it did maybe a month ago. Matthijs de Ligt, that will cost United a bit more in terms of wages. And you have to say with de Ligt, he's had an up and down time at Juventus and Bayern since leaving Ajax 3 or 4 years ago. So which one do they go for? Which is the best option? Any option at the moment is better than what they've got because they've got a lot of injured players. But they'll definitely make a move for a defender again this window. But they do need to get people out. So will it be Wan-Bissaka? Will it be Scott McTominay, who has got a lot of interest in him right now? But the season starts in 2 weeks. They have to get some business done pretty quickly now.
Frank, you're here. Would you like to add anything?
No, because I'm thinking that throughout my career, you know, how many players got injured, you know, and we talk about 46 players from Manchester United. At some point, yeah, you have some random injuries, I would say unlucky injuries, but most of them, they happen because you are either been working too hard or maybe not worked enough. And I remember being at Strasbourg for 6 months with a fitness coach. We never had any injury for 6 months. And Arsene Wenger hired him in Japan. At the time was a coach in Japan. And the guy kept on working that way. And we never had an injury. So it's not due to the player or the bad luck, let's say. It's also because maybe the people working with the player is not good enough. Or maybe the player don't work enough or work too hard. You have to find the right balance. And I think Manchester United didn't find it yet.
As Mark mentioned, of course, not long now until Manchester United's season kick-off. There's a little matter of the Community Shield. Manchester City against Manchester United. Of course, a traditional curtain raiser for the start of the new season. And that game is live and exclusive on ESPN a week on Saturday. You can join us at 9 at God, our preview. At 9 a.m.
You sound excited, Dan.
Gab Marcotti's here, everyone. Yay! Hello, Gab. And we'll be here. Oh, no, he's gone. Stuart Robinson, who is fine, by the way, just a little pale with the makeup today.
Yeah, I think the makeup girl got me wrong, didn't she? Really? The cynic in me.
Oh, what? There's no cynic in you, Craig.
It doesn't exist.
No.
It doesn't exist.
No. You had dogs in the neighbourhood and running towards you.
I thought it was an airplane taking off.
I'm a great swimmer.
Yeah? Oh, really, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, with his game in with the fish again.
Cucurella. Get over it.
So why did boot?
Let me ask you again a question.
Yes. Why did boot Cucurella?
Is that what you were up to yesterday when you got in at 1 p.m. but didn't think to call Seb for a little lunch date? Or
Funny that, because I was walking on the path today to Manhattan Beach Pier. You walked right by me. You walked right by me and kept on going in your hoodie and your black hat, and there you go. And I just stood up there. I just stood up and was like, well, there he goes. 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 All right, Seb, good seeing you.
Hey.
Here's a phrase I didn't think I'd say. I missed you yesterday, Craig.
Where's the beard? Where's the beard?
Hello, Dan, and all the legends you have there, Steve and Frank.
Oh, don't
it's a
call them
pleasure
that.
to be with you. You are not a legend, Dan.
Yes, I know that. Thank you very much.
I think Suey told Nico he's going to take one. He said, you'll be 4th or 5th. And as we're talking, all we're seeing is Nico just walking up to take the first penalty. And then Suey said, where's he going? And in the end...
You're a genius.
Did you know that you weren't supposed to go first?
No.
When did you find out?
Yesterday.
Because obviously Greg Berhalter's gone, and we need to know which names are top of the list.
Oh, you said it all. You said.
Greg Berhalter at the US.
Including complimentary hi-fi Wi-Fi, hi-fi Wi-Fi, hi-fi Wi-Fi.
These eyelashes are totally natural. I want everybody to know that right off the jump here. Yes.
Nobody mentioned your eyelashes. Nobody mentioned your eyelashes.
It's the latest edition of Extra Time. Come on, Sid, look at the camera. What are you doing?
Okay.
Right, we're live. Come on. View of you. What's this about?
It's your back that is closest to the bar.
Wow.
I'm trying to do it now.
Look, go on, Jan.
There you are.
That bar is low.
Yeah, if anyone,
bar is low.
If anyone's just switched on, they'll be like, what's going on? Ah, there we go. Lovely.
We have a stressful job, Dan.
Shh, don't tell anyone. That is it. That brings us to the end of today's show. There is more to come, though. Extra Time is here. Frank will join us, Ali as well, to address some of your questions that you've sent in. We'll be very excited to answer. Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. How low can you go, eh?
Oh.
That's quite a deep cut, quite deep V-neck that Frank is bringing to the table today.
The mic is not helping either. It's bringing it down even further.
How are you, Frank?
I'm good. It's very hot in here, and because we had some heat outside, and so I wanted to wear my jacket, but at the last second I said no. I'm going to chill out because it's too hot. I'm going to be sweating, and I saw on the July. You know the July story?
The best of July, yes.
You pushed me once? You pushed me once, really?
Yes.
You did that?
Yeah. Yeah, you kept
I saw
interrupting,
that.
and I wanted to
That's
hear
the
from
last-
Jurgen Klinsmann, and then you're
Yeah,
there
but-
blabbering on.
Yeah, but that's the last time you do that. You know?
Oh, yeah?
That's the last time you do that. Yeah.
Big man. Big man now. You're across the ocean with your tight T-shirt. And you're sat here, says nothing.
Yeah.
That's it.
With your deep V-neck.
You're gonna see that guy.
Look really tough with your deep V-neck.
Ali, as a striker, do you think Haaland prefers KDB in the number 10 role to Foden?
Well, I think Erling Haaland would prefer the better passer of the ball, and I think that is Kevin De Bruyne. And I don't think that Kevin De Bruyne has to be limited to playing the number 10 position. Just let him float around. Because when he floats, he's able to find angles, and when he finds angles, he's able to find passes. Phil Foden, as good a player as he is, he's not exactly a passer of the ball as Kevin De Bruyne is.
But who is?
But with that sort of quality. And so as a forward, as a center forward, you're looking for the guy that is going to put you through on goal. You're looking for the guy who's going to serve you the ball, and you're going to have tap-ins. So if I'm Erling Haaland, yes, I prefer Kevin De Bruyne being that guy.
You've been flirting around, Ali. How's all your trips? I'm talking to Ali about his trips now. Be quiet. How was everywhere
Don't
you've
do
been?
that. I tell you, don't do that.
I'm really concerned. If you wore a deep V-neck like that, all that chest hair would be out.
Yeah, because Frank gets his chest waxed.
Oh.
I don't have a waxed chest. I just let it natural.
natural.
But what would surprise a lot of people is I'm very hairy.
Yes, you are.
Which, considering my manly ways, I don't know why it doesn't surprise more people.
Okay.
Right, where were we?
Right, yeah.
You've been
Your hairy deep V-neck is a problem now.
Yeah, exactly. If I had one of them.
No.
It'd be trouble.
It's been everywhere, Dan.
Yeah, did you have a lovely time?
Well, yes. I was in Orlando calling the Barcelona-Manchester City game with Mark Donaldson.
Lovely.
He was really excited to be there.
Good, nice. And have you got any more coming up?
Absolutely. Going to New York for Real Madrid-Barcelona.
You're doing that one, are you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
You going to be in studio?
I don't know. When it's Saturday night? Let's see.
So you're too busy?
Let's see.
You're going to be wearing a
See what the plans. Kay may want to do it. I
deep V-neck for you?
I don't know what the plans are. Frank, did you want to add something? Sorry.
Well, I forgot because I'm watching you. It looks like you're the two guys on the Muppet Show, talking about their own problems. You're very funny.
Yes, that's good.
Now,
Nice relevance.
I just wanted to say that the answer is very easy. Kevin De Bruyne was injured last season, and Haaland scored less goals. So, and we saw how many goals that he scored when Kevin De Bruyne was very fit and was serving him, because Haaland needs to be served. So I'm pretty sure that Haaland prefers to play alongside Kevin De Bruyne.
Frank, a lot of people are sleeping on Spurs to finish top 4 this year. United have injury concerns now. Chelsea have many issues. Villa have Champions League football to play. And Newcastle have depth issues. And it will be our second year with Ange Ball.
It's a possibility. The way they changed the way of playing, just changing with Postecoglou was pretty amazing. But then they have to confirm, and it's always harder to play better the second year and to confirm what you are able to do. They were going down a little bit at the end of the season as well, so we shouldn't forget that part of the season where they lost points where we were expecting them to do better. So they will, I think, need to reinforce their squad. They will need to, especially defensively, get stronger. But it's a possibility for Spurs to surprise everybody, to finish in the first 4 for sure.
It wouldn't be a huge surprise if Spurs finished in the top 4.
Your concern with Spurs is how they finished the second half of the season, considering how they started so well.
Yeah.
Like, is it that teams found them out? Did they not believe in Ange as they did at the start? Was there injuries? Let's see what was.
At some point, you can't just go back and forth with teams. At some point, you're going to have to defend. At some point, you got to grind. And I don't think that when it came to grinding in the latter stages of the season, Spurs were ready to do that.
I want to see happy Ange back. I didn't like grumpy, not looking at interviewer Ange.
Okay.
Ali, the thing is, you can name the first 3, which will be Manchester City, Arsenal, and Liverpool. But after the 4th, it's a big question mark, because how Chelsea, Manchester United,
the question said it, didn't it?
Yeah, how are they going to handle? So why it wouldn't be possible? I wish Chelsea is going to finish in the first 4, and for some reasons, but really, nobody is, or Newcastle as well, can be in that. So how are they going to play this year? Is it going to be a good surprise or a bad surprise? Everybody, I mean, the 4th seat is really open to like 5 or 6 clubs.
Does Frank know that I was agreeing with him?
Yeah, I think so. I think he was just making a point.
All right. It just felt like he was making a point that didn't support his initial point.
I want you to emphasize. Your comment, because I thought you were a little bit soft on it. You know.
Wow. All right. Okay, DB neck. All right. Okay.
For Ali and Frank.
I'm going to finish like that.
Please don't.
Well, you know, some people like it.
And some people don't. For Ali and Frank. Do you think a 4-3-3 formation is taking out the out-and-out striker from the game? Let's go with that first.
Okay. Well, no. If you play a 4-3-3 and one of that front three is in the middle, that's a center forward. That's an out-and-out striker. It really depends on what the role of the guys on the outside is and what the guys in the midfield are able to do in order to support that center forward. So no, the 4-3-3 per se hasn't taken the center forward out of the game. The game as a whole nowadays has taken the center forward out of play. This idea of the false nine, this idea of that you're better off without having a striker, and somehow that has become a popular thought among coaches. That's where I have an issue.
So on that point, Frank, is it easier to defend in today's game than in your generation because there isn't a number 9?
No, it's not easier now because there is also another factor, is the fact that you have you cannot touch the player. So you have to be really spot on every time you go into the contact. You have to make sure you are spot on, because at our time, you know, and Ali can witness that, we could make mistake, but the referee was considering, because we tried to play the ball, that was a come on, play on. That's different now. They go for it, and maybe strikers, they even more exaggerate the movement of the foul, because they know they're going to be really more defended by the VAR and by the ref. So I think it's in that way harder. But after, I would say that on the other hand, the strikers at our time, they were tougher. They were also bad guys. I played against Dugarry, I played against Alan Shearer, against Ferguson, playing for Everton, or Keane in Sunderland. I tell you, it's not a party of joy. You know, you really have a tough time also with strikers. I don't see the strikers nowadays being that tough.
You know, what has gone out of the game, and it's something that I've said time and time again, is strikers that play with their back to goal. Big strikers that play with their back to goal, that physically are challenging for any center back, because you're gonna have to be able to deal with that physicality, with the flying elbow, with the turn. A striker that's able to feel you, and when he feels you, he's able to turn you. Those guys rarely exist in the game nowadays. You have a lot of guys that are tricky and guys that like to drop in underneath positions, but those guys that are willing to stay in between the two center backs and say, we're going to hit each other throughout 90 minutes. We're going to fight throughout 90 minutes, and I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you physically. I'm going to run in behind. And when you get tight on me, I'm going to try to spin you. And if you get tight on me, I'm going to hold the ball up, and I'm going to get physical with you, just as physical as you're getting with me. Those guys, that prototype of striker doesn't exist nowadays.
Yeah, that's where my game... There just wasn't any opportunities for me.
That was your strength.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What's been your all-time favourite sporting or footballing moment as a spectator, Ali?
Oh, Frank is going to love this.
1998?
The 1998 World Cup, and much more so than whatever was going on the field, is the fact that I was traveling France in the TGV, in the train, going from game to game with my dad and my brother.
Oh, nice.
Best month ever. And the experience of being able to share that with my dad and my brother, even talking about it gets me a little emotional, because it really is something that I think we all look back and it was life-changing. It's the idea of sharing something that we love and sharing it together.
Nice. It's the best month ever, best experience ever. Doesn't involve Melissa. That's an interesting point. Right, Frank.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan. Appreciate that. I'll make sure that she watches this segment when I get home.
Frank, for you as a spectator, is there something you enjoyed?
Well, as a spectator, as a TV spectator, I really love the 78 World Cup with all the papers coming down the stands and Mario Kempes that I say hi to, our legend. That was amazing. The first time that I really followed the French team, they went in the group stages with Argentina and Italy, and they finished third, so they didn't go through. But that was a great time. I really discovered the World Cup and how spectacular football could be. And as a spectator, I really enjoyed 1998 until the final. Because that was spectacular.
Really good seats. We had really good seats.
Stereotype. We asked, Frank, I think we asked you this before, which Olympic event you'd love to do, and you said 100 metres, was that correct? I'm trying to remember. Was that the conversation? Were you involved?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
100 metres. As Ali, for you?
Well, that would be fun, to be fast.
Yeah.
See what that feels like.
Yes.
That wasn't quite the case for me. I would like to be brave enough to do the platform diving.
Oh, really?
Yes. And to be able...
Ooh.
I would go down quick. I go down quick. I would go down quick.
Jason Statham.
Cannonball!
Jason... Ali, do you know that Jason Statham was a platform diver?
Yeah, Jason Statham was, the actor now, obviously. Yeah, I've seen that
actor,
doing around.
Yeah.
I love diving, really?
I mean, I would like to be brave enough to be able to do it, yeah.
Right.
I mean, as I recall my childhood, I would be the sort of guy that would just run off the platform.
Yeah.
I don't think that I have that in my game any longer, Dan.
I see. So almost like a test of.
Yeah. Look, if it comes down to it, I'd throw myself off the platform. Some would say that that's what I did over the course of my career, diving.
There we go. There's the full circle.
Have you followed the French swimmer?
Yes.
Marchand?
Wait, Frank. We have a question about that actually. That's our last question. Can I ask it and then we can talk about it? Okay. Is that cool? Frank,
sure.
How much pressure is there performing in an international competition on home soil? As an individual athlete, do you think Marchand has more pressure on him than you and your collective team did in the '98 World Cup?
I don't think he has more pressure because football is the #1 sport and we never won anything before '98, so the pressure was high. And I followed yesterday him winning the two golden medal and the first spot. But the guy is really amazing. And he said that they explain how they work because he worked in the United States. And the way that they perform and they educate their swimmers is more in a collective way. So they take off the pressure to make sure that they work for a team. So Marchand has that spirit in his mind where the pressure is off and he works for friends. And that's absolutely crazy to see how easy he is and how comfortable he is before swimming. He's a real athlete. I think Phelps followed yesterday. Mark Phelps followed yesterday his run, or I don't know how you say his race. And that was funny to see how Phelps was behind Marchand because he was a fantastic swimmer, an exception to the world. And Marchand is becoming the same kind of guy. I mean, he's going to do the final of the 4 different way of swimming tomorrow.
Freestyle?
And,
no, individual medley.
Well done, Dan.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much, Ali. You are the professional of that. And he's going to do another. And I think he's going to do another final, and he can win all of them, like Mike Phelps did and Mark Phelps did, and it's simply amazing. We never had that kind of swimmer, and on top of it, he's always smiling. He's a nice guy. He's not a robot. He's very human. So we all love him, of course, and that's great to see that. But the pressure is different, and home soil is nice, but everybody is behind him, and it's what we like. We have fans, and we love to feel the fans behind us.
The connection to Michael Phelps is that they had the same coach, Bob Bowman. That's why Michael Phelps gets excited when he sees Marchand doing well. Hey, I'm just trying to give you some
Great,
information, Dan.
Thanks for that.
Well, I'm
It's
watching
amazing.
the
It's
information
amazing.
and I'm giving you the information.
Maybe you should stop talking about football and start talking about swimming, you know? I'm kidding. You know I love you. You know I love you, Ali.
He mentioned the excitement of Michael Phelps watching Marchand. I know that you're bored about this. No, but you weren't bored watching gymnastics.
No, gymnastics was good. I've liked Antoine Dupont is a big star completely now, isn't he, Frank? The rugby player? Crikey.
Yeah. He's amazing. He won the 7. They play at 7, and they won the golden medal, and he was amazing. And except politics, everything goes well in France.
All right, God, let's not get onto that as well. But let's talk more about Michael Phelps' trainer.